welcome back to Asia Now. Let's take a break from the news and talk about some things I wish I knew before coming to Asia and the Philippines. And not just me, we'll read some other expats' thoughts and answers regarding this topic. Here's today's question. I'm curious about a question and I love some feedback from the forum. What are some things that you wish you knew before you moved to Asia? Things you couldn't find out, things that were your biggest fear. Feedback from the group would be very welcome as I'm doing some research on something. Thank you in advance. Someone says, in the USA, I used to consider myself a patient man. The Philippines has redefined patience. This is obviously, if you've been to the Philippines, if you live there, if you visited, it's because in the Philippines, we talked about this before, a lot of people are just laid back, they're relaxed, you know? That in combination with not everything being up to par with maybe the US, for example, infrastructure, internet, some things, the system, for example, may not be as up to speed as some other countries. This all leads to you becoming very impatient sometimes. So I think this is probably referring to that. Personally, I've noticed my patience has definitely improved. I'll give you a couple examples. For example, when I'm at the grocery store, sometimes I notice maybe 3 or 4 people in front of me, and I have this idea, it might be, for example, 5 minutes or so, ends up being 10 minutes, but now I'm used to that. Initially, I used to get upset. Well, why is it taking so long? Why do they need like a supervisor to do this or do that? Credit card stuff, why do they, like, for example, sometimes write down a number or whatever it was. Initially, I used to get a little bit agitated, but I'll be honest, I'm much more relaxed now. I can care less. I just scroll through my phone, through social media, talk to you guys and respond to some comments, and before I know it, it's my turn at the cash register. Someone says the internet sucks. Now this is definitely a hit or a miss depending on which Asian country. Let's talk about the Philippines, as most of, I'm sure you guys are watching because you're interested in the Philippines and Thailand, even Malaysia, for example. For me personally, living in Cebu City, internet has never been an issue. But I would admit sometimes it drops or the speed is lower. So if you're working for an online company, someone that needs you to be there 24/7 or, for example, throughout your whole shift without any issues at all, you may find that a bit difficult, especially if you go to small, like for example, Sikihor, when I visited there, I couldn't use the internet whatsoever. I couldn't even stream something on Netflix or YouTube, but I wasn't there to watch videos or movies, right? So I enjoyed my time in Sikihor. So depends on which city you are, and now they have Starlink, so obviously Starlink satellite internet is going to be a beneficial thing for you if you're going to stay there long term. There are ways around it. Go into a location where internet's good. You can have multiple SIM cards, backup data, pocket Wi-Fi. So there are alternatives, there are options. But it becomes a problem if you're there for like 4 weeks, let's say, and you don't have the time to get Starlink, or perhaps you don't have the time to pay the landlord a bit more money to improve your internet speed. All this stuff, all I'm saying, internet is not as great as some places for sure. For example, the Philippines internet can't compete with Malaysia or Thailand, but there are alternatives, there are options, and it's very inexpensive. So you can have multiple packages, multiple SIM cards, and you can do this very simply and very easily with different providers. There's ways around it, and you can go to internet cafes, you can go to the malls, you can go to it's just actually a great way to meet people actually. So if, for example, for when I edit my videos, and if I have some internet problems, I just simply go to a cafe or a bubble tea, milk tea, or maybe like a co-working space. There are so many of them around Cebu City specifically. Now, I don't know, I can't really speak about province life. I haven't really lived in the province. I would imagine it being a bit slower. If you guys live in the province, in the Philippines, leave your comments down below. How is the internet speed in the province of the Philippines? Maybe name the city and share your experiences regarding the internet. Someone says, you will be the one targeted by beggars. Don't wear jewelry because they will literally grab at your arms and hands. You will be expected to bring chocolates. You will be expected to pay for outings and even expected to pay to bring family to and from the outings. Keep your money, your money. Learn to say no very quickly. I've learned that in general, they spend until there's nothing left. Then they struggle. I was taught differently. That's all. There's no negativity in what I am saying. Stand your ground. Just because you are here does not mean you forfeit your self-sufficiency. I think this particular comment is probably regarding a relationship with someone in the Philippines, a Filipino woman, for example. And a lot of times this comes down to age gap, social kind of norms and standards. For me personally, I've never had to pay anybody's family or for them to get whatever. If I'm going out with somebody, I'm going to pay because that's who I am. It has nothing to do with like Filipina or their families. I know this is a very hot topic probably with those of you guys that are in a relationship with a Filipina, especially if they're coming from somewhere that maybe they don't have that much money in the family. So of course you would be expected to pay. I mean, do you want someone to basically work a whole week just to pay for dinner when you can simply pay 50, 100 bucks? It may not be much to you. So I don't know how I feel about this because I don't have many first-hand experience when it comes to this. Of course, I've been on dates, but and in any country I'd want to pay. So that has nothing to do with, I think men should pay, especially on the first date or whatever. In the end, relationship-wise, long-term stuff, obviously, I think there should be a more kind of understood balance between what you want to pay for and what you expect her to pay for. So personally, I don't have a lot to say regarding that kind of specifics when it comes to paying for people's families. I've heard this a lot just in the social media, I guess, groups and YouTube, and a lot of people complain. But I think any relationship, there should be a clear understanding of what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, if you're okay with paying for everything, if you're okay with paying half stuff. Especially in my culture, like Middle Eastern culture, men are expected to provide anyway, so it's no different for me per se, but I know a lot of North Americans and Europeans, 50-50 seems to be the norm. So yeah, maybe you could tell me, what do you think about this? Do you think the man should pay for everything? Are you okay with paying for someone's family even? Maybe where's the limit for you? I would love to hear some different ideas about what you consider to be normal in the Philippines when it comes to paying for your significant other. Next up, somebody says, everybody wants to borrow money. Every neighbor thinks we have extra money to pay their bills. Can I wash your laundry for $50 per month? Can I borrow to pay electric bill? I owe, Gcash. I don't know what I owe means, but Gcash. And why do they put ice in the beer? Why isn't the beer kept cold in the refrigerator? Red Horse is actually a good beer when it's not watered down. So let me address the borrowing thing. So for me personally, whenever I live in the Philippines, I don't live in like a neighborhood, what do you call that, like a community or a gated community, so or a suburb, stuff like that. So I can't really, my neighbors would just be my like next door neighbors, and I don't really talk to people like that. One time I had someone ask me for money, and that was a guy I used to hire to drive me around randomly. I see him everywhere. His name was like, I'm not gonna say his name, but like he was everywhere. And so I pay him 50 or whatever the amount was to take me to the mall and back. And one day he asked me to fix his bike, and I genuinely didn't have the money for it. So I said, sorry, I don't have like 10,000 pesos, whatever it was, to give to someone I don't even know. So that was it. That was the one time in the Philippines somebody asked me for money. Also, I don't go to the bars, I don't drink, so I don't know so much about that. But lending money to anybody should be, for me, I don't even, if my friends ask me for money, actually my friends have never asked me for money, so I don't know. I can't really compare myself, but I hear this could be a problem as well. I can't really personally relate to this, but of course, if you come to the Philippines, a lot of people, as we talked about on the news segment, live under the poverty line. So if somebody sees you coming in and they can see you as a North American or European, whatever, obviously your currency is stronger, and they might not think it's a big deal to ask you for 5,000, 10,000 pesos. Is it right or wrong? I don't know, but I could see it being happen, or I could see it happening. So you got to be very firm on your answer. If you can't help somebody, or if you don't want to, or you simply don't trust the person, just say no, I don't have it. There's nothing wrong with that. So next time that person will not ask you, and just basically, yeah, that's it. Someone says, I didn't know that most of the beaches around where I live anyway are privately owned. There are also no parks to kick a ball. Not so easy to go for a nice walk anywhere. Interesting. The beach thing, yeah, I've had issues with that personally in Cebu. I didn't realize myself that the public beaches were pretty much not somewhere I want to be. To be honest, too many people, too crowded, too many rocks, not really clean. Around the Cebu, I can't even remember the beach name. So anytime I want to go to the beach in Cebu, I'd have to go to like actual like different island, like either Bohol or Malapascua, Mualboal, Oslo, these places. So for example, nothing really nearby, not that I know of. So maybe somebody could help me out. But then again, I'm not really a beach guy. But the one beach I did go to that was public was a disappointment for sure. And then also one other time, I'm trying to remember where I was. I think it was Bohol. We had to go to a beach and go through like a private property. We paid the entrance fee, whatever. When we're on the beach, we walked down and we kind of sat like, there was the resort, there was the beach itself, and we were basically by the water. And the guy came and told us to move. I'm like, no, it's public beach. You don't own the beach. You own that property. Like, yeah, we know, but we just want you to leave. I'm like, why? I'm not. So that was a place where I'm just like, okay, do I want to start something here, or do I just simply want to move up like 20 meters or whatever, right? So this is what you got to remind yourself. Like, pick your battles, essentially, right? I don't know what the law is. I don't know what these property guidelines are, but I do have to agree that even in Cebu, or in Cebu itself, some of the beaches aren't really nice, the public ones. The ones that are nice, you have to pay some kind of entrance fee or day pass if you want to go and actually use the beach. So I don't know how regular Filipino folk do this. Like, do you guys have a place that's secret away from foreigners? I don't know. Or do you expect you expect it to pay the same as everybody else? Is that fair? But that could just be my personal experience in Cebu. I feel like this person may also be in Cebu. So maybe you guys can help me out. Can I go swimming at a beach in Cebu without paying money that's a public beach that's nice enough? Or where do you live that you access your public beach? Also, if you're Filipino, do you know, can resorts do that? Can they actually, they can't really own the beach, right? I mean, people can, I don't think beaches are owned by private entities. So that was some people's answers regarding some things they wish they knew before coming to Asia. Now let me tell you my personal thoughts. For me, when I left Canada, I didn't know I was going to be in Asia for this long. Now it's been 6 years. I started off in Turkey, I went to Thailand, all these places, and I wish I was a bit more prepared when it comes to my credit cards and my banking. I basically had one credit card and one bank card. If I knew I was going to be out for so long, I definitely would have got 2 or 3 separate credit cards, ensure that I have all the payment processing done online, meaning that I can go ahead and make these bill payments, withdrawals, anything like that online, so I can make my life much more easier. Because if you're taking money out so many times, it can't add up by the end of the month, right? So make sure the credit card that you have has no interest, like no annual fee, for example, no foreign exchange rate fee, no foreign transaction fee, and there are credit cards out there. So go ahead and make sure you have that in place, because that was a big thing for me right now when I travel, and always try to keep them separate from each other. So if you lose your wallet, for example, which I have a very bad memory, not everything goes out the window at the same time. One more thing I wish I knew was to adapt a little bit quicker. Now I think I'm good, but initially when I came, I was maybe a bit more closed-minded, or just who I am as a person. I'll give you 2 examples. Number 1, cold coffee. I never used to drink cold coffee, right? I'm like, it's weird, I don't like it. I won't even give it a shot, but eventually, over the years, I start to really enjoy iced coffee. And that I wish I took a liking to a little bit earlier. That's a small thing. Or even hot showers, for example. I would never rent a place that didn't have a hot water heater. So now I'm a little bit more open to it, because I think I've just got to. So who knows how many places I've not been a part of or rented just because they didn't have a hot shower. Because in some Asian countries, some apartments, no matter how new they are, they don't have a hot water, because it's not normal in Southeast Asia to be taking hot showers in 40-degree weather, so they don't think about it. So those kinds of things, just be a bit more open-minded. So that's it. Let me know if you've been to Asia. What is something you wish you knew before coming to live, travel, or whatever in Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, in Asia in general. So if you enjoyed that video, take a second out of your day, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'll see you guys tomorrow in our regular news. Bye.